track, the Bowerman Mile. World record holder Hisham El Garouj ran here the last couple of years. High school record, Alan Webb from 2 years ago. And there is Alan Webb, freshman year at Michigan, and then decided to forego his collegiate eligibility and run on the pro circuit. And for more on this race, let's go downstairs to Lewis Johnson.
Well, Dwight, I was talking to Bernard Lagat this morning, and he told me that 350 or better will prove to him that he's ready for another season of showdowns with the world record holder Hisham El Garouj. Lagat said his 1,500-meter win in Portland last week, 334, I should say, in the rain, was one piece of the confidence puzzle. Another big piece gets put in today if he can run 350 or faster. Carol?
Alan Webb knows that he has not been burning up the place this year, but he said this place will obviously always be very special to him, breaking that high school world record. He says, in many ways, I know that I can do it, but I just have to be patient. I have to go out there and run my own race, and that's how I broke that high school record a couple of years ago. Dwight?
Well, Steve Holman, there's a couple of other high school kids in this race.
Yes, there's Steve Magness from Texas and Mike McGrath from Oregon, who's actually going to be attending the University of Oregon. So if he breaks 4 minutes, this place will go bananas. But the two high school students actually benefit from having Alan Webb in the race. Not only is their hero right there and makes their goal seem a bit more tangible, but I also think they should key off the strategy that he's going to pursue in this race. He's going to be near the back of the pack, that is Alan Webb, and he's going to try to make a bid late in the race. That's exactly what they should do. They should follow Alan Webb.
And there's Alan Webb again, number 72 on the left side of the screen. That's Steve Magness of Texas. On number 82, Mike McGrath here in Oregon. He'll be going to the University of Oregon. And between them, Kevin Sullivan, who's having a very good 2003 season. Can't show you all of the runners in this race. There are 19 of them, but here are the major players. Lagat, the bronze medalist from the Olympics in Sydney, and the Olympic champion from the Sydney Games, Noah Nyen of Kenya, also in this great field. They always have good ones here in the Bowerman Mile.
I tell you, Dwight, it's a huge field, probably too big, but it could actually have a beneficial effect for the high school kids and Alan Webb, because the pace will be sufficiently fast that the pack will spread out. And if things are spread out, then they will be able to follow and be hoovered in the pace. Hoover is the term of being sucked to a fast time in a fast-paced race. So it looks like that's exactly what's happening. So that's good news for McGrath and Magness.
You always worry when you have such a big field if the pace doesn't go out, but it is already going out. They're looking for Simon Kamada of Kenya, who's leading now, to take through the first 800 meters in about 1:53, and then David Kiptu of Kenya to try to take it another 11 to 1200 meters total. And then the running is all on, and you can see the two high school kids are right in the back, right next to Alan Webb. McGrath and Magness and Alan Webb right there.
Doing exactly what they should be doing. They're well within themselves. The pace is normal. All they have to do is just turn their brain off and just keep running.
59.2 unofficially for the first 400 meters. So they're going to have to step it up a bit in this second lap if they want to hit that 1:53 that they were going for. And Magness, Steve Magness and Mike McGrath well back in the back around Alan Webb, trying to run their own race and run sub-4, but they're well off that pace if the leader went through in 59.2.
Yeah, and there's a danger that there's a gap forming between Alan Webb and Steve Magness just went by him to try to reclaim his place in the pack. Mike McGrath is struggling a bit at the moment, but up front, they're doing exactly what they want to do. There's a very good chance that we could see a sub-350 mile.
Well, there's certainly tremendous pressure on these high school kids because this is a great race. This is a great event, and it's hard not to get caught up in the emotion of it. And Kamada does his job, takes it down around 1:54, so not a bad job. And David Kiptu now going to try and take them through at least another half to 3/4 of a lap. Bernard Lagat is the one stalking Kiptu right now in the all red in second place. And the high schoolers just under 2 minutes for that 800 meters. Obviously, that first time that I got was for the high schoolers. How is the wind on the backstretch going to affect these runners?
It's going to slow things down, obviously. You know, when you have such a small margin of error in the case of the high school kids, that really could affect their chances to go under 4 minutes. But Magness is running. Yeah, Steve Magness and Alan Webb are both running well. Again, they're running very fast up front, so it's a bit deceptive because they're probably right around 4-minute pace right now, so it remains to be seen if they'll be able to get under it. But I don't think that Alan Webb wanted to be this far back this late in the race.
Well, we just saw Seneca Lassiter walk off the track. Steve Magness trying to do his best to stay in this. Bernard Lagat there with the bell as Kiptu steps off the track. 2:52 for 1,200 meters. And Lagat is leading over Hudson da Silva of Brazil, and right now that is where the race is. Kevin Sullivan back there in 4th place, and Lagat with 300 meters to go looked so good last week in Portland, where it was about 52 degrees and raining. Magness goes through in 3 flats, so he's got a shot if he can keep himself together.
Up front, a bit of a surprise with Hudson da Silva. I didn't think he'd be able to stay that close to Lagat, but Lagat has this race in control. But 3 flat for Steve Magness. He has an excellent chance to break 4 minutes. He's working his way through the pack. He is not slowing down. It'll be very, very close, but I think he's got a great shot.
Lagat ran 3:34 last week in Portland. It's about a 3:51 or 2 mile. Looks very, very good here. It's going to be an easy win for the former Cougar at Washington State, and he is going to be right at 3:50 as Kevin Sullivan of Canada is finishing 2nd. And here comes Alan Webb, and then Steve Magness. And unofficially, we have Magness at 4 flat, about a 4:01. So he improves on his personal best, but likely does not break the 4-minute barrier. He would have been only the 5th high schooler ever to run under 4 minutes outdoors. And there's Steve Magness. He made a valiant effort, went through right around 3 flat, ran a very even pace. You got to say something about a kid that can be that disciplined, Steve.
You can't take anything away from that race. He did exactly what he needed to do to put himself in position. He just tied up a little bit the last 100 meters. You have to remember, this is the end of the season compared to the beginning of the season of the professional athletes, but he made a valiant effort. All kudos to Steve Magness. He has a great future ahead of him.
And Alan Webb had an outstanding performance, close to what he ran when he ran that phenomenal high school time, 3:54.42 for Webb. You would have to consider him back. Let's go to Lewis.
By what you ran today, does this say to you that you made the right decision a couple years ago by coming out of college or not running in college and going professionally, or do you sort of think about that decision? Any thought process there?
Nice, 401. Yeah, I don't regret anything. This is just the beginning. I think I could run even better. 3:58. It's my best time this year, so it's better than I have been running, so I can't complain too much.
All right, Lewis, they've corrected Alan Webb's time. It's actually 3:58.84, so maybe not the breakthrough he was looking for, but certainly progress. Bernard Lagat almost breaks the Prefontaine record. And first, Kevin Sullivan of Canada continuing to run well in 2003. And Alex Kipchirchir is 3rd. The high school times, the best one, Magness ran 4:01.02. So he certainly improved his personal best. Mike McGrath is well out of it, but we will see him at the University of Oregon over the next 4 years.